How excited are we that she's here? Oh my gosh! In the flesh. Thank you so much for coming to Indiana. Thank you. I'm going to.
Can I interrupt you and ask a favor?
Yes.
Could we turn these top lights down and just leave the front lights on? Is that possible? Thank you. You can talk though.
It is a little bright, huh?
It's a little like. I feel like I might leave smarter.
So you got your start with theater in high school in Fame, yes. And this, if I'm not mistaken, was the first time you really knew how well you could sing.
Yes.
I'm shocked. Okay. With a voice like yours. So what was that feeling that you had on stage and you said, this is it, this is what I'm going to do?
It was, it was a huge rush of adrenaline, not necessarily while it was happening, but when I was finished. It was hard for me to go to sleep at night. And I had not felt that from anything else. And I did lots of things. I ran track, I played saxophone, I played soccer, I swam, I did all the things. But that was the thing, being on stage, that really spoke to me and let it be known that that's why I was here. That's what I should be doing.
Wow. Okay, I have one more question, then I'll go to the audience. Okay. So in all of your roles, you've played such a variety of roles across your career, and incredibly talented. My mother wanted me to tell you.
Thank you, Mom.
You're so talented. And but I think that there's like a sense of power and dignity and presence that you bring to the work that you do, and a sense of like belongingness that you are, that you belong in the spaces that you're occupying. So where does that sense of belongingness come from, and how do you hold on to that in the face of all the challenges that we face?
That's very interesting. I think that I am very clear about who I am, and I've trained to do what I do, and I've worked hard to be in the spaces that I'm in, and I don't think about it like that. I don't, that's not something that I'm thinking about, so I think it's wonderful that that's what you get, but I think it's about walking into a space prepared, walking into a space knowing that you've done the work that you need to do to be there. And I think everybody at some point, even when you are prepared and you know what you're supposed to know and you do what you're doing, at some point there'll be a space or a time when everybody feels like, oh, I don't know if it's right, I don't know if I'm good enough, I don't know if I'm this. Everybody has that feeling every now and then. And that's okay, you breathe through it. You remind yourself that you worked hard to be there and you've done the things you needed to do, and you take another step forward. And I think that's a really important thing to remember and to hold on to. But I feel like I have a purpose, and I stay true to that purpose. And I just continue to try to keep growing and bettering myself, not just as an actor, but as a human being. And I think that we all make mistakes in the midst of our journey as human beings, but the goal is to continue to grow and to learn. And if that's what I'm doing, then there really can't be a time when I'm not in the space that I'm supposed to be in.
That's such a powerful message, especially when so often people are told, like, hey, you don't really fit in here, you don't belong here.
First of all, nobody has the right to tell you don't fit in somewhere. They're not the arbiter of space. You know what I mean? They may not even know why you're there. They don't know the thing that's special about you that makes you fit into the space that you fit in, but they don't have the right to tell you that you cannot be somewhere unless you're being cruel and nasty and making it difficult for other people, in which case, get on out. But I think that's one of the things that I focus on in my book, the book that I wrote, Tiana's Perfect Plan. I talk a lot about, Tiana is somebody who is always prepared. She's got her ducks in a row. She's crossing her T's and dotting her I's. And it's very important to her that she feel that she fits into a space perfectly, that things are done perfectly. It's very important to me, or it used to be very important to me, that things were done perfectly. And I learned, and am still learning, so probably I wrote this book for myself and pretended it was for children, that there is no such thing as perfection. There is no way to be perfect. Nature is perfect. We as human beings are made perfectly to do the things that we do, but animals are made even more perfectly to do the things that they do. Other than that, there is no perfection. The perfection is the effort. The perfection is the journey. The perfection is the love and the integrity that you put into the thing that you're trying to do. That is the journey. That is the thing that we're striving for. Otherwise, for somebody to think that they're ever going to be perfect is to constantly be disappointed in yourself and in life. You cannot be perfect. You can do your absolute best, and that is where we find perfection.
Beautifully stated, beautifully stated. And we'll go to this beautiful young lady here.
Hi, my friend.
Hi. My question for you is, what characteristic of Princess Tiana best relates to you?
Now you see how I read your mind and answered that question before you even asked me? I am somebody who is constantly trying to get something right. And I came from a very small town. I came from a place where nobody was doing the thing that I wanted to do. I had a lot of people telling me I could not do that thing. And I persevered, and I pushed forward, and I believed that I could, and I had parents that believed that I could. And I think that was really important for my journey, because my parents never said, oh no, you don't want to be an actor, you don't want to be a singer, you shouldn't be that, you should do something else. They said, oh, that's what you want to do? Well, how are you going to prepare yourself? And then they supported me in my efforts to get to where I needed to go. And all of those things also, I think, were true for Tiana. And I'm very grateful for that, because I think it makes a big, big difference when our parents, and that parent can be a grandparent, an auntie, but when our mommies and daddies specifically tell us that they believe in what we are doing or what we're trying to do and help us to move forward, even if on the inside they're scared that it won't be the thing that's best for us. That's the thing that gives us that extra oomph and allows us to believe in ourselves in a deeper, fuller place.
Thank you. Next question.
You read my mind as well, because I was going to ask about
Special skills.
parental support. So as a parent of a daughter who wants to be in theater and wants to be in this industry, how can we as parents support them, as well as navigating those challenges that the industry brings?
Mm-hmm. I think that one of the most important things to do if you have a child who's trying to get in this business, maybe particularly a girl child, maybe more particularly a brown girl child, is to reinforce to them constantly that what they are is enough. That they don't have to try to be something else. That there's no need to stop eating. That there's no need to be a certain shape or size or height. That if you wear glasses, it's because you can't see, so put them on. I think it's really important for us to firm up our children's belief in their possibility and in their own strengths. And that doesn't mean that we don't learn new things. If we want to be in musical theater and you don't know how to sing or dance, you are in that moment not enough. You need to fortify the things that you don't know how to do, and that just means training. I've heard parents tell their children, when I was a little kid, oh, you're no good at that. Nobody needs that. Nobody needs that. What we need is, I love that you love to do that. How can I help you to get to where you want to be? And we figure it out. Because, sometimes classes and things are expensive. Things cost money, especially now. Things are tight. Eggs are still expensive, y'all. Hasn't changed. It is really important to know that there are spaces in which you can pursue your dreams without spending an arm and a leg. There are community theaters that have dance classes and voice classes and plays that they put on. Sometimes if you belong to a church, they'll have singing classes or acting classes. Is that going to get you to a professional space? No, not immediately. But as a little person, it helps you to get comfortable on a stage. It helps you to be not afraid of being in front of people, and that is also a space to learn. But sometimes, you know, I have friends who are brilliant researchers, like their kids do everything. I'm like, how did you even know? They were like, oh girl, it's free. I was like, what do you mean it's free? How did you find that? Sometimes it's about us taking that extra step and doing that extra research so that we can find the things that we can actually reach for and touch, because they are there, they are around, you know, and then if we can afford to do something else, we do that then when we can afford to do it. But don't let I can't afford it stop you from doing something, because I promise you there is some place that you can afford that is quality. And also do your research. Do not send your child into a room without being there with them. Do not do it. If your child is on a film set, a television set, a commercial set, if they're modeling, you be right there. And if they tell you you can't be there, question it. Why not? Why would you not be able to be there? Please, please do this for me, for you, to keep your kids safe and to keep yourself safe, keep your heart safe. There should be nowhere where your child can't walk into the room, where you can't walk into the room with your child. You know, sometimes if they're having an audition, they don't want the parent in the room, there should then be a camera where you can watch what is happening. But do not trust that just because something has bright lights and loud noises, that it's a safe space for kids. So always keep safety in mind as well. I don't know if I truly answered that question. I don't know if I talked too much. But thank you.
Great points. Thank you. Next question.
Hi.
I love Tiana's friend Charlotte. Was it? Yeah. What was it like working with Jennifer Cody?
Well, to be honest, I did not work with Jennifer Cody. Because it's a voiceover, we're often in the booth by ourselves. But I know her, and I sort of know her from Broadway, and she's fun, and she's very funny. Very
like
funny.
it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
I'd first like to say thank you, and I think a lot of young Black women feel the same way that I do. You're such an inspiration, and to have a Black princess is just, it was life-changing for me.
Thank you.
My question for you is, if they were ever to do a live-action Princess and the Frog, would you want to be a part of that? And would you play Tiana? Would you like to take a different role?
If we can do Tiana at a different point in her life, I'd love to play Tiana.
I think you could still do her.
I don't know that I can swing 19 anymore.
I think you could, for the record.
Thank you. But I would love to be a part of it. In some way, I feel like at some point when you've worked on a character for so long, you know the character better than anybody else. And there's always something to be gained from having that person be a part of what is happening. Yeah, and I'm very interested in showing Tiana as life has gone forward. I'm very interested in that, and you know, we recently had a special, a series happening on Disney, Tiana the series, that got canceled. Agreed. And people have been asking me a lot about that today, and I will say, in light of your boo, that feel free to write, send an email, let them know that that's something that you still want to see and would like to have live, because they don't know until you tell them. And I'm very interested in Tiana's journey, continuing it, and a lot of other people are too, and I'm really grateful for you and everybody else who is here and supportive of her and loves her and boos for her. because she's very special to me. I love her deeply, and the amount of care and love and passion that you all have for her has really kept her a consistent space in our, not just the Disney land and world, but in our world, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hi.
Hi.
So, what was it like voicing Tiana?
I loved it. I still love it. I get to do her for different things as the years go by, and it's really joyous. And I think that one thing that is really special to me and moving to me is how she affects people, how she affects all people, young people, older people, people from other countries, people who are brown, people who are not brown. The beautiful thing about Tiana is that loads of people see themselves in her. And that is such an honor to me. And it means a lot to me because it means that they felt, from what I did and what I spoke to, they felt her and they felt connected to her. And they felt connected to her humanness. And that's a beautiful thing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi, again.
I also just wanted to say thank you just for the impact that you have done even in other roles and not giving up. And my question is about Dreamgirls, because that's a movie that really did an impact on me since I was a child. But my question would just be, what was that experience like for you to play that role and to even now just see the impact that movie made as well?
So she's asking what it was like to play Lorrell in Dreamgirls. And thank you for that soft woo. I loved it. I really loved it. And it was the first big film role that I did. I had just finished doing a musical called Caroline or Change on Broadway, which you all just did recently here in your community theater, and I saw it last night. And they had seen me, the director saw me in that musical and asked me to come audition for that. And for me, it was really fantastic because it could not have been, you talk about sitting in your space, it couldn't have been more perfect. It was what I did on stage. Now I'm doing it with cameras. So it was like, hey, can you come do what you do? But it allowed me to cross into the world of film, which is something that I had really wanted to do. And I loved it. I loved it. Working with somebody that I grew up laughing at, working with Eddie Murphy as my scene partner, that's crazy. Crazy. And that man, my first day on set, we did our first scene, which was when we all met him. That was the first scene that we shot with him. And he looked up and he said, "You're funny." And I said, "I can die." So it was an amazing experience, and I loved it. And it was a beautiful intro into feature film. And to be able to do a musical in feature film, I loved it. I still love it. I love the way that people relate to Lorrell and people want to come up to me and sing to me all the time. I love the fact that people love Lorrell so much that when Kendrick Lamar did the Super Bowl, Lorrell made a round as Kendrick Lamar with his smile at the end of the Super Bowl performance. Like, that's more iconic than I ever imagined that role was going to be. So it was awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have to ask really quickly. So she won a Tony Award for Caroline or Change, her Broadway debut. I mean, come out of the gate swinging, right? And then Dreamgirls is one of your first films, another instant classic. So, what was the moment for you to say, "Oh, I made it"? Because you've had so many. You don't have one yet?
I still don't say that. And I think that most actors that you speak to who are working actors who are, still really, I do Broadway, and then I'll do something voice-wise, and I'll do a film, not in any kind of order, or TV or whatever, but I'm still, there's still dreams that I have and goals that I have that I have not yet achieved, and I think that maybe then I'll say, "Oh, I've made it, I've done it." But I feel like the moment I say I've made it, I've done it, I've stopped my journey. So I haven't said that yet, but I appreciate the fact that other people feel that way about me. And then I continue to strive to do other things. I'm always striving to do something else. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Hi. Have you ever seen like the episodes of Amphibia that you were in?
Yes, I did.
What do you think of the show? Being part of the show?
I loved being part of the show. I loved being Dr. Jan. I thought it was so much fun and something very different and a different voice, and nobody expected me to pop up as Dr. Jan on Amphibia, so I was really excited to be able to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh my, okay.
I have that problem all the time.
Just jump.
Hi. I'm very happy to see you here. Like, you were my kids' first Disney princess, and they're like 19, 18, and 20 something now. So, yeah, very happy to see you here. I'm glad you mentioned Lorrell. Like, I love that Dreamgirls challenge where you did the smile thing with your husband. I actually do that now when I'm singing along in the car. Now I stop to do it because I just love it. But anyway, are there any other like Broadway roles? Like, what's a dream role that you haven't played yet that you'd like to do?
I'm not good at that. I wish I was. I wish I was. I know people who are like Broadway encyclopedias.
Yeah.
And I'm not that girl.
Okay.
So I can't, I'm so sorry. It's like
okay.
asking somebody their favorite something, and automatically you're like, boo.
Yeah.
I could not tell you, but I can tell you that I think my favorite role that I have done, I did off Broadway, and it was Carmen Jones.
Okay.
And I loved it, loved it, loved it. And we were bringing it to Broadway, and then COVID came and interrupted everything. So that hasn't happened yet. So I would still love to bring that to Broadway.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. So there is a question I wanted to ask you personally because honestly I loved your role as Tiana in The Princess and the Frog. She's my biggest inspiration. But the question I wanted to ask is, what would you tell someone if they're trying to make it big out there in the world, whether it's a musician or like an actor, Broadway, as you mentioned earlier? What would you say to them?
Train. Train yourself. Train yourself even if you think you're the best thing that has ever been heard or seen. Train yourself, because the last thing you want to do is step up into a room and think that you're ready and find out that you aren't. So do everything that you can to make yourself ready. That's what
Thank
I
you.
Great
for your
question.
answer.
We have a princess. Yeah.
Hi. I echo everyone else when saying, like, thank you so much for being the representation that we never had. It just means a lot. If it's okay, I would like to ask 2 questions. The first one is, what is your favorite song from Princess and the Frog? Another one is, who is your favorite princess besides yourself?
Well, I'm going to speak to songs that I don't sing.
Okay.
I deeply love Friends on the Other Side. Yep. That happens. His performance is just untouchable in that song, and it's so beautifully sung, and the rendering, the animation is gorgeous for the song, the type of styles of art that they went through when they did it. I have goosebumps. I love that song. I think it is, as far as an animated piece of music, I think it's perfection. And then you asked me something else.
Favorite princess besides yourself?
Favorite princess beside myself. Well, there's Tiana.
Other Tiana.
Yeah, there's Tiana. That's hard. I really loved I love Ariel's soundtrack. I really loved The Little Mermaid. So it might be her, but I it changes depending on the mood I'm in and how I feel, what I want to express. But I think I really do. I really loved The Little Mermaid. I thought the music was awesome. I love Ursula dearly. She's not a princess, she's bad, but I love her.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
So I work in a library, support libraries. Yes, bless.
Excellent.
And I wanted to ask you about your picture book that you just wrote, Tiana's Perfect Plan. What inspired you to write that, and then what do you hope kids get from reading that book or reading it with their parents or adults?
Yeah, well, I mean, the main thing is that I love New Orleans. I love Princess Tiana. I wanted Princess Tiana to have a journey that took her outside of the kitchen. I thought it was important to see that she's a well-rounded woman who has been in the world and educated herself and traveled, and that to see she and Naveen as a complete family. I also wanted to, as I spoke to before, I feel like their kids are dealing with so much anxiety. And I think a lot of that anxiety is the need to be right, the need to not make a mistake, the need to look perfect, sound perfect, to not be criticized at all. And I think it's dangerous. I think it's really dangerous. And it's unfortunate. And so without making it a story that is moral-based or a story that's beating you over the head with something, I wanted it to be something where they could see a space in which to release reasons for that anxiety. And so it is a safe space where Tiana makes a mistake. And she makes a mistake that she doesn't fix. And life goes on, and it's okay. And people like it anyway. Because just because we think something isn't perfect doesn't mean that somebody else doesn't experience it as maybe the best thing they've ever been a part of, or tasted, or touched, or seen. And so that's a lot of what I put into it. And I don't think that was my goal as I started, but as I went along and outlined it, I realized that, oh, this is really important. I have a couple of kids in my life that have like sometimes debilitating anxiety, and I'm like, you haven't been here long enough. Like, you should be running and getting dirty and happy about it. I want you to be able to jump in a puddle and be happy about it because you're dirty. And I really wanted to, as I went along, I realized that that was something that could speak to them in a way where it wasn't a teacher. It's not a therapist, although I think therapists are very important, and I support that. Sometimes kids need to hear things quiet ways. And so that was what I wanted it to be, a quiet way in which they could hear something and revel in it and enjoy it and let it just seep in and maybe practice it, try it, see how it feels.
Yeah. Thank you. It's an excellent book, by the way.
Thank you.
Hi. So you're perfect, so I don't even know if this applies, but if you have ever been rejected from a role or told no, how do you deal with that and move on?
The way I
who
get...
could reject you?
Do you want to be an actor?
I do. I've been acting. I'm 20. I've been acting since I was about 6.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you might already be familiar with the fact that actors get told no more than parents of a 2-year-old. Mm-hmm. Every day. It is not a space for the faint of heart. You're really going to have to build up your skin. And sometimes you really want something, and you think you are perfect for it. Maybe you are. And it doesn't work out. It doesn't work out for reasons you can't figure out. And they don't tell you either. Nobody calls you to say, hey, we really loved your audition. It was so good, but we're just gonna do this. No, they don't. You're watching TV, and the thing that you thought maybe you were going to be in is on television, and you're like, oh, I guess not. So it's a really sort of brutal space for your feelings. So again, the most important thing you can do for yourself is to know that you did the work that you needed to do to get in there. And there will be days that you will cry because you didn't get something, and that's okay. Cry, and then get up and go do something else. It is really important to make sure that you have friends, not just friends who do what you do, but friends who do other things, so that you are not hyper-focused on whether or not you get a role, because you're not gonna get every role. You're not gonna get most auditions. You're not gonna get them. That's just how it is. And the more you do it, the more it'll be a little easier for you to let those things go. And I think the most important thing to learn is that there's another role. There is going to be something else for you down the pike. There will be something that you're even more perfectly suited for. Because not getting a role sometimes means that you're just too short to stand next to the person next to you. I'll tell you a fun fact. I almost didn't get the Dreamgirls role because I am 5'2" and a half. And my co-stars were 5'6" and 5'9". Now, how were they going to see me in the frame? Serious question. So they were concerned that maybe I wouldn't be able to be in the same frame with them. What ended up happening is that I wore 5.5 to 6 inch heels throughout the entire run of the show. So when you see me dancing, that's what I'm dancing on. And I'm glad that they worked it out. But those are the things that are so small that you have no control over that can keep you from getting a role. The flip side of that is that may be the thing that gets you the role. They want a little itty bitty cute girl. And they're like, actually, she was great. She sang well, she was dressed nicely, she was matching top to bottom, and she's 5'2". That's exactly what we need to fit our little schism. So you just gotta walk in there and do it and be okay. And sometimes you're not. Sometimes you're hurt. You can talk about it with your friends. You gotta have good friends, good partners, and talk it out. Take walks. Sometimes you gotta take a walk. I'm a big walker. And take your mind off of that thing, because it will never, ever, I promise you, be the end of the world. It will not. It won't.
Fantastic question.
Thank you so much.
You.
You're welcome.
I will say too, Anika, you have an amazing body of work, and it seems like everything you've been in was meant for you to be in. So thank you for pouring your talents into so many different projects.
Thank you.
And anybody who missed out on you being in it, that's their loss anyway.
Hi. The soundtrack for The Princess and the Frog is probably one of my absolute favorites. I have almost passed out trying to sing the last part of Almost There more times than I can count. So I actually have 2 questions, but my first question is, what was your most challenging song to record from the movie? And then my second question's a little deeper, but how does it kind of feel to be known as the first Black Disney princess? Is it a lot of pressure to know that you've had I'm 23 and I remember watching the movie in theaters. Do you feel a lot of pressure or anxiety from having all of these people who look up to you and being in such a big monumental position?
I'll answer your second question first. It feels great. I'm very grateful for it. I am very honored by the amount of love that is given to me because of that space that I've been able to take up. I don't feel pressure about it. I can only do what I can do. I think when I first took on the role, I had no idea that it was going to be as iconic as it has turned out to be. And so all I had was joy about it, but also a real sense of care and making sure that I cared for the legacy. There were years close to the time where I was cast where there were types of roles that I would not take because I felt that I owed it to the image that Tiana was to keep myself as, I don't know a good word for that. I'm an actor, right? So I'm going to play roles you don't like. At some point, I'm going to play somebody really mean, somebody really nasty, somebody who doesn't act like maybe you want your child to act, because I'm an actor and I represent human behavior, and I represent all human behavior. And there are times where I won't take a role because I don't feel good about maybe a message that is being put out in that role, but that's my personal decision. But I also did not take some roles because I felt like they were in opposition to who Tiana was and who I wanted Tiana to be for a while. Like, I gave it a few years. And then I was like, okay, well, I've done that for a few years, and now people are just going to have to realize that I'm an actor. And when you see me on Power, I am acting. It's not really going to happen, but there I am. And I'm glad that I did. So for that, in that way, I was very protective of Tiana. You know, and when I'm in spaces that are distinctly Tiana spaces, I'm still very protective of how she is seen and represented, particularly to children, because they see me and they think of her. So it's important to me that I don't put a schism in that. Now, sometimes some people will come up to you and take you out of yourself, but I work very hard to stay, not very hard, it ain't that hard, to stay in a space that allows children to continue to see who they need to see, right? She's not that different from me, really, honestly. But no, I don't feel a lot of anxiety or pressure about it. I think that people have to respect me enough to know that I am a person, and they have to respect Tiana enough to know that Tiana is a person. And you saw Tiana at 19, and you get to see her in a different space in this book. But we have to realize that people grow and change. Now, Tiana's not a real person. You know what I mean. What else was I going to say? What else was that question? The other question. What was it?
Oh, the most challenging song to sing.
For me, the most challenging song to sing was When We're Human. It just was not really in a key for me because I was singing with two men. It had to be a key that the men could sing in, and I can sing in that key. Obviously, I did that, but there were a lot of ups and downs within a word. I was up and down in a vast way. So I found that was a song that I had to really figure out where to place it so that I wasn't struggling, because I was changing spaces in my voice in a line of a song.
Thank you. Also, you are absolutely stunning.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi.
Hello. The mom that you saw earlier, that was my mom. I watched Princess and the Frog when I was like a baby or a toddler, and now I'm 18 years old and I'm about to graduate, so it feels
That's really rude.
I'm sorry. I was just saying it feels really cool to see my childhood hero in person.
Thank you.
That I grew up with when I was little. I really want to follow in your footsteps. I do band, I do choir, jazz voices, and I did the musical. I was in Shrek the Musical as Donkey, and I am now in Hades Town playing as understudy for Hades. And I just wanted to know your journey as a Black woman who was trying to, because it was more difficult for you to be the first Black Disney princess, and I wanted to know, like when you were pushed down, like how did you get back up from that?
First of all, thank you for sharing that with me. And you're doing all the right things. The roles that you are doing are different They're diverse. They're not the roles that somebody would think that you would be doing. And I think that's great. And I don't want to trivialize this or make it sound simple, but you just do. You just have to get up and do it again, or do it a different way. And my grandmother always taught me that you were the captain of your ship. And so I have to be. And I'm not responsible for how somebody else thinks of me. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
I'm not responsible for someone else's prejudice. I am not responsible for somebody else's bigotry. I am not responsible for somebody else's problems. I can only be responsible for myself. And I can only handle myself in a respectable, honest way. And when you do that, I think it may make it a little easier to carry forward. Sometimes it's harder because you're like, I'm doing all the things I should be doing. Why? You don't have the answer to why. All you have the answer to is how to do what you do. And you do the best you can. It sounds really like I'm being very simplistic, but really there's nothing else to do. You can't control someone else. You can only control you and how you react to things. So sometimes sometimes it's trial and error. Sometimes you get enough bruises that something doesn't hurt the same way. Sometimes you do something enough and water just rolls off your back. At one point you'll get to the place where water starts to roll off your back. And then one day, another day down the line, you will scream about it. And that's okay too. It's okay to scream about it for a little bit, as long as you can find your center and keep moving forward.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi. My dad took me to go see your movie when I was just 2 years old, and I really loved it growing up. And I was just wondering, who inspired you?
Who inspired me? Mm-hmm. So many people. A big inspiration for me, and I don't know if you all know who this is, but I really hope you do because she's an icon, is Debbie Allen.
Yes.
She's phenomenal. She started as an amazing dancer. She then moved to choreography and did that well. She directs. She has written books. She takes people under her wing and she takes them with her as she's moving up. She says, I've learned how to do this now. Now I'm going to teach you how to do it because I see that that's something you're interested in, or I see that that's something that that you could connect with, that you have the proclivity for. She started her own dance school. She teaches kids all over Los Angeles, sometimes for little to no money, because she loves it and she loves kids. And I think it is so important for us to remember as we move forward, as we get higher in the thing that we're doing, to reach out a hand and grab somebody else's hand and take them with us. Teach them so the road is a little bit easier for them. It's really easy to be like, oh, I had to deal with, so why should, no. And I'm not a saint. There are truly days where I've been like, what? I did 6 days a week of shows for such and such a time. They'll be fine. I would love a 6-show week. We have to be able to open the door for other people. And we have to be able to take them with us. And that's something that she does so beautifully that I am always inspired by that. So I'm always willing to talk to somebody and tell them something that I think could help them, if they're open to that. I don't want to put things on you. But I love that about her. And she is a Renaissance woman. And I love that about her. And she is still learning. She's 75 now. And she's still doing new things. And she's awesome. And she's about this tall. I love her.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi again.
Hi again. Again, I want to say thank you for everything you have done. I know it's repetitive, but there are no words other than for me just to say thank you.
Thank you.
But my question is actually a non-Disney movie question. Can you explain or talk a little bit about your role in For Colored Girls and that experience?
So, For Colored Girls was originally a play by Ntozake Shange, who is no longer with us. It is not for children. It is about the traumas that women have endured in different spaces, particularly women of color, hence colored girls. There's a lot of trauma in that piece, and it was groundbreaking when it first came to Broadway, and then we turned it into, or off Broadway, and then we turned it into a film, which is not quite true to the play. It has a lot of things added to it for film. But she was an amazing woman and an amazing writer, and she really gave voice to women before there were things like, I'm trying to think of how to say this with children in the room, but before there were laws to protect women that we have now, she was talking about things that women were going through. And how we can protect ourselves, or how we need to protect ourselves, or how we need to teach our sons to be able to protect us in their actions as they move through the world. And so I played a woman who dealt with some devastating trauma in that piece, and she was also a dancer. And that was a very tough thing to film. But the amazing thing about it is, having filmed it, that I actually I was at a screening, and a friend of mine met me in the bathroom and told me that it is something that she had gone through, and that because of the movie, she was able to speak about it for the first time. So we learn as we do the thing that we do as actors, that sometimes when we embody something that feels heavy and difficult and tough to do, also to watch, that we give other people the ability to open themselves and free themselves of a trauma that they've been carrying. And that is a huge, phenomenal honor as an actor to be able to give to someone. The point of what we do is to move you some way, whether that's moving you to laugh or to cry. I don't tell you what it is that you're supposed to feel, but I hope that you feel something when I'm performing. And when it's real special, when something really special happens, it moves someone to a sort of freedom somewhere, somehow. That is a huge and tremendous blessing. Hello, I love your costume.
Thanks. Also, again, it was really great for you to be here today down in Indiana.
Thank you.
And you just brought all these just wonderful people together and all. And my question is, if you would care to answer, what is the most difficult thing that you had to go through in your life, and how did you overcome it?
That is a very broad question. For 1 minute and 45 seconds. This went by really fast, y'all, to me. I hope it went fast to you. I hope you're not like, God, she's still talking. I don't think we have time for the most difficult thing in my life. I think that for me, sometimes it is difficult being a public person because I'm actually a very private person. So I feel honored when I get to connect to you all in an honest and true way, which is why I try to take the time to talk to you when you come to my booth, because I sort of want to know who you are and how we can really connect, which is something past a service that is being done here, because I'm not always good at small talk. And I'm a tiny bit weird, And I'm a nerd, and I'm a big reader. So I think sometimes for me, it is very difficult to be constantly considered to be public and available, because I'm not constantly public and available, and people have a hard time allowing celebrities to have their own space in the world. Here, we're here for this. I've had people come up to me in the bathroom. Can we take a picture? I'm like, girl, I'm in the bathroom. Do you want to take a picture in the bathroom? We haven't even gotten to the sink yet. I think that for me, especially with social media, people expect that every bit of your life that you live is for public consumption. And I'm working at graciously teaching people that it is not. And that I am grateful to meet each and every one of you when I do. But there are times when you have to let people be sad on their phone when they're walking down the street, or having whatever feeling that they're having, because everything is not a picture moment, and I don't always want to take a picture, but what I will always do is give you a hug, and give you a hello, and give you a thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hi, so I know you were talking about what you used to do before you got into the business, and like how you had to basically commit and train to be the person you are and get through that. What are some of the, if you don't mind asking or answering, like a hobby or a particular love of yours that you kind of had to make that decision and push it to the side, and maybe you kept close to you, and as time went on and you allowed yourself to have extra time because you were at a level that you felt was acceptable, maybe not perfect, but acceptable, that you always kept, that you wanted to always get back into, or always keep as a hobby of yours that you love?
That's a good question. I don't know if I have an answer to that question, because I like to do what I like to do. I'm a big reader. I think I don't read quite as much as I used to, because I don't have the time to do that. And I was somebody who would read until I heard birds, if the book was really good. Literally, I would be like, oh my God, I gotta go to school now. This is terrible. I needed a nap. So I don't know that I've given up any. I love to ride a bike. I still ride bikes. I love it. I love to take walks, long ones. My friends, I have a friend in New York who calls me Forrest, because I'll just keep walking. I love that. So I don't know that I've given up something that I love to do what it is that I do, and I think I've probably given up some life experiences that I could have had. There are lots of sacrifices that people made, but not with regard to things that I just enjoyed doing, which I am grateful for. I don't think that I have as much time. Like, given my druthers, I would love to be able to go roller skating more often. I don't really get to go roller skating, but maybe that's me in time management. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm sorry that I don't have some juicy, like, starving artist. I had to give up painting. I could have been Bob Ross. No, but I do things. I'm one of those people who actually sometimes I'll go to the place where you paint the pottery. I do that. I ride a bike. I bake. I'll take a cooking class. I'm game to do almost anything because I like an adventure. And I'm somebody who thrives on the feeling of adventure. Like, I don't do boredom well. So I try to do lots of things. I wish I was better at time management. I will say that, because then there would be more things that I was better at. That is a crappy answer to your question, and I'm sorry, but I'm gonna think about it because maybe I'm missing something. And if my husband were on the panel, maybe he would be a better person to ask because I don't know.
It's all right.
Thank you, though. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Your work has meant so much to so many people, so we're so grateful for you being here today and sharing so much of your wisdom with us, and I hope that everybody came away with something that they learned. I feel like I learned a lot. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Everyone, last time for Anika!